Welcome to Wickerson Studios. I have been very busy. I jumped into an incredible hackathon this weekend. Stephen Bear was definitely there, along with a bunch of other people from McNeil's, and they taught me a ton. All the work I've been doing this last year with GH Python scripts, GH remote Python scripts, C# scripts, following parametric camp, plugging everything into these small little components, is completely ready for me to hop up. What does it mean to hop up? Well, there's a node that comes out now, and you mix the hopped up node right here with no inputs, no outputs, and set that to file paths, whether they're online URLs or on your desktop. It really doesn't matter. When you do that, these things come alive and take on the characteristics of whatever script you want to run, no matter what, so long as the scripts are hopped up properly. What I've done here is I grabbed a series of iterative qualities that actually stack trusses from a student in my elective class in visual arts, a junior in the undergraduate program at Kansas City Art Institute, Sergi Espinales, and he's blowing me away. The other thing to learn how to do is how to properly hop up your scripts. So here will be a script that needs hopping up, and this is a beautiful algorithm that was written. All I've done was jazzed it up with a little bit of polar arrays. You have to be careful of your bifocals tools, and then any numbers, anything that you have to set to this, you have to get in and learn how to hop things up by setting least, most, minimum, maximum, names, prompts, whatever you want. And be careful not to miss anything. There's a small item here that I had to be careful not to miss. Where was it? I think I actually took it out as a 0.5. Down here is number, maybe a radial pipe and radial span pipe, which is named. And then I bring out those geometries, not just the final render. Actually, if we take this off, you'll see that I brought out these pipes, and brought out 3 more outputs as final geometry 1, final geometry 2, and final geometry 3. Once that's done and saved, you put that wherever you want. Just put it on a website. Just have access to it through a link. The best way to put it is into GitHub. And I think I can show evidence of that going into GitHub. And Rhino has itself a series of hopped up scripts that you can jump into. But I've got hopped up C# scripts here and Espinales trusses. These are all available that you go in here, you don't download, you just copy the link. As long as those are your most recent versions, put those into hops and you get them up and running. Absolutely fantastic. So if I jump back into here, McNeil's, Rhino Compute, you'll see under the source file, under hops, under definitions, they have 4 samples, spiky thing being a very interesting one. Go into spiky thing, select your copy link. An example would be going into here and possibly starting a new file, grabbing yourself a hops, and because I have the file path and it's hopped up correctly, I can just cut and paste it into here, run it off of their GitHub, and bamf, you have a parametric script that you can go into and draw wherever you are and start plugging in your sliders and numbers. And if they're hopped up correctly, you can have some incredible parametric models, change the counts, change the life, and enjoy what's happening there. So what I've done, this one I'll just leave off. That was the example I was seeing this weekend. Obviously, this is an example of I didn't hard code the points in. The points are actually defaulting. They don't need points because I've actually hopped it up so well that a point is actually registered. Well, that one's null. I have to be wondering why this is here. Let me change my solution, recompute. No, it's running fine. What I would suggest is going in and generating a point, generating another point, setting your 1 point to your top one, set. Pretty basic Grasshopper stuff. Pretty basic Grasshopper stuff here. There's a default, and there is our parametric model that I can go in, change the height to affect the height of those arches. I can change the depth if I want to do that. And the only thing I've done here is I put it on asynchronous, which allows it to go to the last iteration of the script, and it doesn't take a while to actually slide through these. Think about it. These are 3 decimal places, so every iteration as I slide, it's going to be changing. So you have an incredible way to model this, and of course you see a little bit of flipping out there. What's nice is when you're actually hopping up these scripts, which is what I refer to them as, popping up a script means going in here and setting everything in detail to what you want. What's nice is I can go in here and set a minimum and max on what I want as a range, a domain, to actually affect the geometries to make them work. And then what I did was I started to realize the power of iterations. I'm able to take a polar array of points, go in here, and generate this script. And then from the output of that script, just a single final geometry, first and end points, use those in the script again to generate an iteration or recursion on top of it. So this is going to be the means of using nodal scripting to get at all those things you ever wanted to do. And think of layering and layering scripts. If you want help with this, I would suggest that you just support me on Patreon to encourage me. I fully intend on learning the absolute basics of all my C scripts that I brought in from Warsaw, from Raya Isa, from whatever sources I could find, definitely from some of the algorithms of Jose Luis Garcia, so I could bring in the game of life if I hopped up the game of life. And it's actually very easy if you're considering all the work I did in C, that I actually just have to bring in a surface, a couple of numbers, and a seed, and have these as outputs. And these are all ready to be drawn and have the game of life anywhere you want, from anywhere you want. And it'll jazz up people wanting to go to my GitHub. Just incredible work. And of course, I'm problem solving this. And I was honestly most satisfied that I had a Zoom meeting called out to me from Steve Bear from Rhino at McNeil's. What an honor last night. And I'm on the cutting edge of where I needed to be. I have, for many of you have seen for years, or not years, generated as much as I can to understand coding and scripting. And I'll be able to tuck these all behind the scenes, everything available to you on GitHub, and anything that you want to jump to, or any URL for that matter. I actually have a website in plans. People will go there. They'll see the effects of these geometries, and I'm really getting into development. So I thank you for your support and interest. If you do want to support me on Patreon to encourage me, that's fine. But either way, I'm going to do it. It's open source, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks very much for watching.